Today, I want to talk about who do I feed the most? Raising great kids is a privilege and a responsibility. Sometimes our children can't see their own greatness. Sometimes we can't. Other times we can see their greatness but struggle to step up because of our own challenges. We will be discussing the brain science, tools, and techniques that help us raise great kids. Hi, I'm Cynthia Armstrong. I am a mother and a teacher that's worked in the general and special education systems, and I spent 5 years homeschooling my children. The things that I teach are things that I have learned and I've discovered as I've looked for things to help myself, my children, my students, and their families. So what I was doing this week is I was reading in Joshua, and Joshua in the Old Testament, and Joshua said, choose ye this day whom you will serve. And that really made me think about, who is it that I serve? Because we have both, that carnal and that spiritual, that mortal and that immortal in us. And who is it that I serve? And there was a book that was put out, I can't remember by who, but it was somebody who was in the military. And he talks about which dog do you feed the most, your fear dog or your courage dog? And so you can put this in multiple different terms, but it kind of boils down to, am I choosing to feed that higher self or that more primal mortal self? And when we are feeding or doing more for our higher self, then that kind of creates that energy that spreads throughout. And so as we look at that and we look at that energy and where we are putting our energy, we can really we can decide, we get to choose, where we put that when we consciously make that choice. Because if we're not consciously making that choice, then subconsciously it's going to choose for us. And we get a lot of programs that come from outside of us that really aren't ours, but that we will sometimes feed. And one way we do that is by the shows we choose to watch. There was myself, okay, we'll use me as the example first. When I was really struggling with my husband, and I had feelings that weren't great towards him, and I was blaming him for those. But at the same time, I was watching shows where the man would come in and rescue or be the hero or would do anything to get to the girl, or I was watching these kind of shows. And then I'm like, well, why can't my husband be that way? My husband would never do something like that. And so I was using these movies that said, oh, if a man loves you or likes you or however you want to look at it, then this is what he would do. Now, if I was consciously thinking about it, yes, then, I could look at it. And so once I became conscious, I could see what I was doing. But when I was working out of my subconscious, then this was like programming me to not like my husband even more, or to find faults where there's not faults. And so we could use these TV shows or movies or commercials. Commercials do the same thing. We could go on, there's one playing, am I allowed to say? It's a fast food restaurant. And They say, like, if you go on this vacation together, this journey together as a family, then you've just gone on a long trip. But if you stop by this fast food place, then really it's a great experience for your family, because now you've stopped by this fast food restaurant chain. And so we can have these programs, and they're subconscious. They do it subconsciously, and they've studied, and these advertisers and these shows, they know what they're doing, where, oh, I can't really be happy unless, and again, we don't say, yes, I choose this, but because we're not consciously choosing, it could subconsciously program us to this unhappiness. And I don't know, I was talking with a friend, and they were saying how in third world countries, people can be in poverty, and people can have very little, and yet they can still be extremely happy and positive people, and here in America, we have so much. Even the poorest among us have so much, or they can go get the basics that they need with all that's out there. But we tend to be very unhappy people. Generally speaking, we struggle. And I was thinking about it, and I said to my friend that, well, I think perhaps the third world countries feel happier because they're not being programmed to be unhappy like we are here in America. They don't have all the commercials and all the different businesses and all the different things telling them how unhappy they need to be because they don't have this yet. And so when we look, and when we choose, whether it's who do I want to serve, or who do I want to feed, or which part of me do I want to feed, that mortal or that immortal, that temporary or that eternal, then we can step back and look at where are we taking our information in, what are we choosing to do with that information, whether it's just let it play on its own, or whether we step up and say yay or nay, or purposefully take in the things that benefit us or not. And the same, I know I'm talking about us a lot, but we are the parents, and if we don't have what we want for our children in our own lives, it's less likely to happen. Yes, they can go find it on their own. They can go through their own, they are going through their own experience, just as we're going through our own experience. And we kind of go through our experiences side by side, but with those mirror neurons and with how we learn, we really do help each other. And so when we have it in our lives, then we can show our children what that looks like in their lives. And children are great by their very nature, and we have that privilege and that responsibility to raise them. Hi friends, Cynthia Armstrong here. Thanks for joining us today. Please make sure that you subscribe to our channel so you can see when new videos come out, and like this one. It is such a responsibility and a challenge to raise great kids, and we are here to help you along that journey to make it as enjoyable and fun and fulfilling as possible. Please check out our website, www.raisinggreatkids.net, and I will leave that in the description below.